What's up, guys? Welcome back to the number 2 podcast. I'm Glenn.
I'm Simi.
And this episode is going to be
Shit.
Thanks for tuning back in. This is episode number 4 of the number 2 podcast. Today, we're going to cover some really good topics. How's your week, Simi?
It was good. We're in a row. 4 episodes?
4 episodes.
Yes.
In A+. From 2 ADHD psychopaths to the world. This is pretty good.
Yeah, it's a true story. Yeah, my week was good. Just a lot of work. How about you?
I've been trying to work out.
Oh yeah, we've both been trying to work out.
Trying to do fitness.
Yeah.
Fat mess to fitness. We went to the gym together this week.
I know we went to Equinox.
We went to the Pride Land. It
It
was good.
The water at Equinox is extra cold there.
Are you guys gym members? Are you paying? The water's really cold?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Where? Like the drinking water?
Yeah, like the fountain.
Oh, it's
like
nice.
ice cold.
It's nice.
I mean, there's no cucumber water, but
the cucumber water cool down. Cool. For those of you that are not living in a major city, finding a gym that is equal parts clean and motivating to actually exercise is next to impossible. And if you are, what's the word for it? I don't know, broke. It's hard. So I finally caved and had to rejoin my old gym. But they were doing a promotion. There was a promotion.
So many promotions.
It was a promotion. So obviously I'm going to have to pay up eventually. But for now.
I mean, I like being a guest. Your guest. But I don't think I'm paying for Equinox right now.
Not yet.
We'll see how this podcast goes.
You can please subscribe so I can maintain
go to Equinox.
My mental health. I'm not kidding. Everyone should be an Equinox member. It's literally insane.
Or what's the one in Vegas? Lifetime,
the luxury. Yeah, we can't afford Lifetime's. I think more than Equinox.
I mean, I've never been, but I've heard all of the stories.
But it's literally insane. If you were to describe the 7th level of hell, for me, it's 24-hour fitness, which is what I still can't afford, but what I can afford in Los Angeles. It's horrible. I know this is
I mean, I feel like 24-hour fitness is okay.
No, this is privilege, from a place of privilege, obviously, if you're watching this. But if you've been to a 24-hour fitness in Los Angeles, it is
specifically Los Angeles.
It is because we've been to other ones in other cities, and I would say they're equally gloomy, but clean.
Very clean and not as crowded.
Sensible.
Yeah.
Not the newest equipment, but it works. Not the best customer service, but they're friendly. Versus if you go to one in Los Angeles, it's Shrek's Swamp is nicer than 24-hour fitness in Los Angeles. They're the stories that could be told.
I used to work at 24-hour fitness. And the stories that I have are pretty crazy.
It's insane. I worked at a gym in college in Chicago, and I was told on the first day that a woman came. It was above the Red Line, which is the underground train. And I was told on the first day that anything can happen, because in gyms it's insane. And I had never been a member of a nice gym. And I was told a lady came up from the Red Line, came inside, and was screaming to use the bathroom, and they were like, it's private members only, which you were trained to say. If somebody came in and wanted to use the bathroom, you'd be like, it's members only. And this woman had a baby on one of the chairs.
Yeah. Well, no, we would let them use the bathroom if there were 2 of us at the front desk.
Oh, wow.
And one of us can walk them, too. And then when they're done, we'd walk them out. But if it was just one of us doing because it was the graveyard shift. So if it was just one of us, it'd be I can't leave the front desk. And back then, now it's not so strict. I feel like anybody and everybody just goes in. But when I first started working there, it was a brand new gym. And I think at the time, the price there was pretty expensive, and they were strict.
Yeah.
They would watch the cameras. You had to stand up and smile and greet people. Try to get to know people's names, which is no. I mean that's how we worked in customer service, but now it's not so much like that, especially post 2020.
Yeah, post 2020.
Post 2020, it's just like the customer service has gone out the window.
I don't believe that you should be getting any customer service
Uh,
anywhere
really? Why?
post 2020, or really even before,
I don't believe that.
because I know what they're making. Like, pay transparency.
Oh, for sure. But I
I
mean,
don't think you
like,
should be mean,
no,
but
for sure.
I don't like if I'm at the grocery store or a retail store, I don't expect any level of service. Like, you shouldn't. They're not being paid a livable wage. Like,
Yeah, the discrepancy there is pretty wild. But
if I ask a question and you have like an answer, like, that's good.
yeah,
Don't ask me.
but you're the first person to complain when somebody doesn't have customer
Well, when
service.
they're rude. I forgive them in my mind, but I'll still complain behind their back.
Yeah, I remember the one.
I'm not gonna do it to their face. I understand what they're going through.
I remember the first time we started dating, and we went to a diner, and I ordered a breakfast burrito. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And you
Can you
mortified
can
that
you
I.
tell them why we were at a diner?
Why were we at a diner?
Because you were in
Oh,
you were in the closet.
I was closeted at this.
So if you want to date somebody in the closet when you're 50 years old, apparently you have to meet at a diner, because
Yeah,
that's like
because you're DL.
delicious. Oh, down low. Uh, it makes sense though. Like, if you're gonna do a drug deal or like meet your
Anyways.
cousin, like, go to Norms, like, because it's like everybody's there. You know what I mean? No one would suspect.
Anyway, so I sent my burrito back because it had onions in it, and I specifically asked for no onions. But I was nice about it. I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like this has onions in it," and I asked, for no onions. And she was super cool about it. But you were mortified. You were like, "Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed
Because
that you sent that back."
I don't send food, but that's different than customer service. I don't send food back.
I do. And then what happened next? Oh, they ended up bringing me another burrito with onions in it. They just didn't listen. And yeah, I just didn't eat it. But I ended up paying for it and I tipped well still.
Yeah, you weren't rude.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys like onions in your burrito? Is that a problem for you? And would you send it back?
I feel like my palate has gotten a little bit more mature just because I like at least grilled onions now.
I don't care for onions. Anyway, so we've got some good topics today on the pod. Okay, so apparently people are into fighting again. I don't know. I've never watched a fight really in my life. I mean, I've watched them, but like when I grew up, there you were told not to fight, and then when I became an adult, I learned that actually the adults were like actively participating and viewing fighting and like betting on it, and it's like a whole economy. So
Yeah.
it's like your parents are lying to you on the playground when they say don't hit that kid, because look at what's
Oh,
happening.
my mom definitely told me to hit that kid.
Yeah, but
I mean, if he hit me first.
Mandy,
And my dad. My dad's like
Bill,
a Samoan hard ass, so he
I'm
definitely
sure
told me.
he told you to beat them.
Well, I mean, just stick up for myself. Make sure nobody
Yeah,
like.
stick up for yourself.
Yeah,
You were the bully, I'm convinced.
I was not the bully.
You were all the bullies, you and your
I
siblings.
got kicked out of Power Rangers in elementary school.
Anyway, so there is a fighter. His name is Ryan Garcia. You can look him up on the internet. Everybody's heard of him, but everybody but me, basically. And he has been, it's like these people show up on social media all of a sudden, and then suddenly there's a fight. You know what I mean? So it's like obviously fake. And I've been telling everybody this. Everybody's like, Ryan Garcia, he's so crazy. Olivia Rodrigo. So then he has this fight on Saturday or whatever.
And he dominated.
He like goes crazy during the press conference, which is expected, like pretends to drink a fake beer. And then he obviously like wins and gets all this money. So the topic is like, why are people falling for the fake marketing to like give these people money? Because I mean, I get it. It's entertainment.
I think it's genius.
It's genius. It's genius, but it's very much like bait and switch entertainment. You know what I mean?
I mean, he
like,
pulled like a whole Britney right before,
yeah.
weeks before the fight. And then all of a sudden, he just dominated. and he made his money. He didn't make weight, so I think he lost money, but then he betted on himself, and I think he like made like
He,
12 million.
he betted.
He bet on himself. He betted it on himself.
Like, I mean, that could be the word.
I don't
I don't
know.
know. So how do they, like, I have a question. I don't know how much you know about fighting.
Yeah,
We've never talked about this, but it's like, how do they decide? It's like, how do they decide
decide
who's
who.
having it and what's happening? You know what I mean? Is it like a league, or is it like whoever's craziest on social media? Like Jake Paul's like, I'm going to
Well,
go
yeah, I
crazy
mean,
this week. And then,
whoever's gonna sell tickets basically, and you become like popular and polarizing, and then you fight and you win a fight, and sometimes that person just calls another fighter out who they want to fight.
but is it like, because every time I think about fights, it's like that movie Ocean's 11, you know what I mean? Where it's like organized by the casino and the casino gets robbed. So
Yeah.
like, is it like the casino is like, we need to find two social media people that know how to fight? Or is it like a league? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, you know what I mean? Like in sports, there's like teams, but for fighting, it seems like they just decide who is going to fight. You know what I mean? And it's like old people and young
Yeah, there's
people,
no
social media
teams. It's
people.
an individual like type. I mean, there's there you have your own team like
But
that
it's
like you
not
train
like,
with, but
but it's not like there's like the you know, like cheerleading, there's like the juniors.
no, there's definitely weight classes. And the lead up to that fight, there's like multiple fights before it. It's
Oh.
kind of like the openers.
And are people still paying per view? Is that a question? Is that how you
Yeah,
watch
you have
it?
to. Yeah, you definitely have to pay
That's how
for
they make their
that.
money.
And yeah,
That's
it's a super popular
interesting.
event, like sold out. I mean, I heard I've never been to one of those events or UFC events or anything like that, but I heard that they're pretty wild, and it's like the
To
most
watch.
no but like Robbie, my friend Robbie went, and he was just like, oh my god, like if you have ever gone, it's like people are wild, it's so loud, and like people are going crazy.
Yeah. Sports.
Sports.
I don't know. What do you guys think of this fighting? I know it's not new, but is this something we should be getting into? I don't know. Every year, you know, there's like the seasons of sports or whatever. I'm like, this is going to be my year, and I'm going to really get into the
Did you know the Olympics are
teams.
this summer?
Yeah. But even
I didn't know that. I
I,
was like, oh
the
crap.
Paris Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about that.
But even that, it's like confusing because it's like if you really liked a certain sport, like it's like the world. So it's like, how would you?
I think breakdancing's a category.
Is that a new category?
Yeah, it's
Are
the
you
first year.
gonna enter?
Oh yeah,
Who will be the world's best breaker?
I'm gonna break my leg.
That's interesting. All right, well, sports. All right, our next topic.
You're the Disney like expert. If you guys don't know this about Glenn, Glenn is a Disney adult on steroids.
I mean, I am an adult as of the age of 18, and I have been to Disney. That doesn't make me a Disney adult. I feel like Disney adult is like a derogatory term made up by haters, but that's a different podcast. Okay, so the topic is if you have ever been to a Disney park, Disneyland, Disney World in Florida, internationally, I can speak nothing. Please subscribe to the podcast so I can renew my passport and afford to go. But they basically, Disney is like everything they do at these theme parks, like they always have to be the best of the best. Like it's something they pride themselves in, like on every level. And that's why people go. You know what I mean? Like the food is really good and they're always improving it. It's always better every time you go. So one thing they do is they try and be as inclusive as possible. And like people in the past couple years have like made it political, but at the end of the day, like there are different types of people in the world and like they are not always represented. So what Disney does at the parks is for disabled people, which is like become a politicized term, but it's not a politicized term. They had this pass basically. So you would go, you know, you'd buy your tickets to the theme park and you would go in and you'd go to City Hall, or I think you could do it online after COVID, and you'd be like, you know, I have this condition or my kid has this condition. Like, what accommodations can you do for me? And like they would more often than not say, like, this is what we can do for you. And a lot of the time, they'd give them this pass. So it's called the DAS pass, and they had another system before, but it basically like helped people that can't wait in lines.
Yeah.
And fine, like that's a good thing, right? Well, turns out that a lot of people were
Abusing it.
abusing the system because like basically, a lot of people have like ADHD, and a lot of people like can't stand in an hour long line, whatever. So it was basically becoming ridiculous because there was like all these long lines for the disabled people. And they're not really skipping the line. Like they're just not waiting in the line. Like that's what I always tell people. It's like they're just not waiting in the line. They still have to go to the ride and be like, have a disability pass, and then they're like, okay, the line is 30 minutes, come back in 20 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
So this week, the topic is they got rid of this and they like really limited the people that qualify for it.
I'm happy about that. I feel people
And
abuse
people
it.
are pissed.
Well, yeah, it's the people who are abusing it, I feel like, are pissed. No?
I mean, the internet is like crazy. I mean, it's all over the
I
board.
mean, if you have a disability, then bitch, I got a disability.
Well, that's what everybody's saying. They're like, if you have ADHD, like everybody has ADHD. If you have, this thing, like everybody has this thing. And then there's like
Like, I
obviously,
really don't like other people, so I can't wait in line. I'm so sorry.
yeah. And like the lines aren't even that bad. Like
I know.
we don't really wait in lines.
We don't usually wait in lines, but lately when we've gotten into a line that says like it's 70 minutes, it goes by really fast.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm curious to know what you guys think of this. Like, obviously, like inclusion is important, and like if you have a issue, like even if it's an invisible disorder, like you should be accommodated. But at the end of the day, like, how are they going to make it fair?
That's true. It's like
You
those
know,
people that are just ruining it for the rest of the, I don't know, everyone else,
I'm sure it's like partly that. I'm also sure, like, I mean, people definitely abuse it. I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I also think it's crazy because like we are like the minority where we live in Los Angeles, so people that live in LA go to Disneyland all the time. The majority of people that go to Disney like go once in their life, like so if you really have a disability, like
But
and
I
you
feel like
can't
those are the people who are abusing it. Like the people who go all the time, they know all the rules, they know all like the ins and outs and what they can like get away with, so they do it. It's like those
yeah.
vloggers that are getting called out online for it, or they're just like
Oh, yeah.
the vloggers are even doing it, and they're like there every single day,
There
and
are
they're
these
like,
people that are going live on platforms and they are there from open to close every single day. And people are watching it. It's like thousands of people are watching it and giving them money. Like, do not reward these people. Like, I know if I saw somebody there live streaming, I would just roll my eyes at them. Like, I'm all for making content, do a video, go live for like the fireworks so you can show your grandma. But like, I don't know. Disney needs to crack down on it. You don't need to be going live, like ruining the experience for everybody else. It's like the foreign person who like has the giant flash on Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like, turn it off. I'm trying to pretend I'm a pirate.
no, it's the foreign people in like the theater that like start recording.
Let's start recording
You're like, girl,
with
can
a
you,
giant flash
can you put that phone
from the
away?
80s. And you're like, anyway, let us know what you guys think. Oh, this is my topic for the week. There are so many new Broadway shows. It's insane.
And you love your Broadway.
And well, I do, but it's like the least accessible art form on earth.
Fun fact: before we ever started dating 9 years ago, I had I think only seen one musical in a theater, and then after since the 9 years I've been with you, I can't even count how many we've gone to.
It should be more.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. It's expensive. This podcast has just become, please give me money so I can have leisure.
But I mean, I was surprised just because these musicals are so freaking good. Like, I mean, I've cried at multiple of those. Like when you watch a musical on television or on like in a movie, It's just not the same. It doesn't read
It's not
well
the
on the screen.
same.
It just doesn't. I don't care what musical it is. Maybe there was one musical that kind of did okay on screen, but like you have to watch it live. Like live theater is like kind of where the musicals
And
kind of
people don't
affect
get it.
you. Yeah. And unless you go to actual musicals in a theater, I don't think you're going to get it. But yeah, watching it on TV or on a film is just
I mean, can you imagine
meh.
if all of these like fight people who are having such a good time watching like one sweaty man punch another sweaty man like actually went to a musical?
Yeah.
Because those are the same people that are like, oh, I hate musicals. It's like you've probably never been to one.
Yeah.
Like
You've seen it on television.
you literally have seen like a bad like Hollywood big budget movie musical that is like not a musical.
Yeah.
They hired people that
There's
can't
multiple
sing.
musicals that I've seen on television that I've seen live that I'm like, I'm never gonna watch that movie again.
Never again. So bad. Anyway, there's so many new shows, and if you live in New York and have the privilege of being able to afford a ticket, like you've probably seen them, but otherwise nobody's talking about it. Like in LA, they're pretend to be into art, but like in LA they don't care about art, like or theater really. And there's like great theater here and nobody goes to see it. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so there's all these new shows
Yeah.
and I follow it on the internet. Like they don't always put stuff out, you know what I mean? But it's absolutely insane. They turned The Notebook, which like amazing movie,
Love The Notebook.
into a musical. It did workshops last year and then it just started previews. So if you've never seen a Broadway show, basically like it's an insane endeavor because it's a huge financial risk to open something new. So they basically like rent a theater in Chicago or, you know, there's some other places they try and do it and they like work out all the kinks with their, you know, investors' money and then try and get a Broadway theater, which is really hard. So anyway, a lot of new shows have opened, and they're all getting really bad reviews, but the fans are like fighting back, which is great because we need new works of art. But the crazy thing about Broadway that nobody understands is like the things that we are watching, like big budget movies and TV shows right now, the people that are starring in those are the people that are like the little people in Broadway shows right now. It's like if you watch, like literally, if you went and looked at the cast, went and saw a couple of the shows in 5-10 years, you're probably going to be going to a movie starring one of those people because that's where they get them all because they're all so amazing. You know what I mean? But nobody pays attention. You know what I mean? It's like I always use the example of like Titus Burgess, I think is how you say his name. But like if you've watched 30 Rock or Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt or I mean, there's like a million things he's been in. He was in Jersey Boys as like this character that was like 10 characters. I mean, incredible human. He was Sebastian in The Little Mermaid.
Love
like
The Little Mermaid.
Which didn't do such a good movie. Like the remake's amazing, but the Broadway version didn't do very good. But he was Sebastian, like iconic role. You know what I mean? And I'm sure people were like, well, I'm not going to go see The Little Mermaid. I'm going to go see The Lion King. You know what I mean? And now he's this huge star. Like, so it drives me crazy. It's the bane of my existence. So if you watch my podcast, I mean, it's hard. Like, it's hard too, because it's like you can't go to New York. You're probably not going to see the tour because it's too expensive. So it's like, how do people learn about it other than like YouTube, you know?
Or the soundtrack that comes out.
If the soundtrack comes out.
True.
I mean, it's crazy, all of it. But the show I'm excited about is The Notebook because I loved the movie. And if you guys look up, there are clips online, and I think the soundtrack is out. Somebody famous did the music. I'm probably saying their name wrong.
It'll be in the show link or the show
It'll be
notes.
in the show notes that I won't type. Huge fan. Anyway, those are our topics for the week. And if you have some topics you want us to cover,
let us know.
Let us know. We're also available on YouTube Music under podcast now.
I'm going to plug something.
What are you going to plug?
I'm producing a show called Mic'd Up with Michelangelo that comes out May 6th.
Check it out, May 6th. What can we look forward to on that podcast? Do they have topics?
Yeah, it's just a host, Michelangelo, conversing with friends that are pretty well known. Our first episode,
some celebrities.
Yeah, our first episode that's coming out is with Roger Saffold. He played in the NFL.
Wow.
for the Patriots.
What teams have you played for?
Sports.
Sports. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next week on the Number 2 podcast.
Bye.
Don't forget to wipe.
Ew.